Okay, hello, wherever you are. This is Spoon TV and Hot FM and other media institution. We are in the company of District 8 Nimba County Representative Honorable Larry P. Youngquoi. Honorable Youngquoi will be talking to us on a wide range of national issues, including his recent stand on the issue that has to do with census. He's calling on those that are being trapped in corruption web at the census office to be immediately dismissed or suspended so as to give way for the conduct of the census. My name is Haji Masale. I'm here alongside um, Jerome Kangwe and Jenkins Steven. Honorable Yonko, it's good to have you on this interview, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
The legislature has finally resumed in the president letter. There are a lot of national issues you're supposed to be dealing with. Now, one has to do with the census. But there was a motion for the for the letter to be treated, on the floor. But you had a reservation that those who are in the web of corruption at the census office should be immediately dismissed or suspended to give way for a comprehensive census. We are here for you to expand on that. What do you make of it?
Well, yes, I think you're making reference to yesterday's interaction on the floor, where during the first day sitting of the extraordinary session that has been called by the president, the letter from the president was read, and in that letter, mention was made of the need to set a census date. And in making a motion to accept the agenda to be part of our day's working tool, I made a motion and I was calling for the amendment of the motion that accepted the letter that I'll be ready to vote if it could be included. That since we are talking about the setting of the date for the census, we should also say that this plenary will be asking the executive to do the most appropriate thing by letting those that have been adjudged guilty by the LACC who are heading the census house to recuse themselves in the succession clause as enshrined in the act that created leases or be given a chance to operate. I said that against the background that currently, as we speak, the three top leaders of the census house, Professor Francis Ray, and two other managing deputies were charged by the LACC and found guilty of corruption, for going deep into the census funds and arbitrarily using it. It was not done in secrecy. Besides that, the plenary invited a deputy director general for statistics and data processing, who is the principal deputy according to the act that created it. He came and expanded on it, even on this Spoon TV, Spoon Talk, for several minutes, if not hours. And then he was able to expatiate on this before the plenary in person, along with the director general and the two other director generals. And so, having received the report of LACC, it was prudent for the executive to have acted to either dismiss these people and over for persecution, or to have them suspended, as it did in the case of the three government officials that were accused by the embassy. And so, since we are coming back to talk about census as a result of the intervention of the international community, who has told us, as you saw in the letter, that Liberia will be losing anything in the neighborhood of several $1 million, because even to have returned the do we call it tablets, computer tablets that were borrowed from Ghana, if we didn't have this census in October, or it would cost anything in the neighborhood of $5 to $6 million to procure one. And if you look at the logistical arrangement that will be used to have those things. But even if we had the money right away, it means that the census will not be held on time. And then you couple with the fact that the international goodwill that is there, that is mobilizing resources, will be cut short if we didn't have it on time. That means there's no way they could provide money beyond October. So if you look at the pressure coming from the international community, at the same time, the international community is preaching transparency to the extent that they are sanctioning people. I was thinking that if the census is going to be the product of international pressure, and the product of international investment in terms of resources, then we should let the international pressure go at the lowest level, which is the need to do it with transparency around it. So it's only logical for those that are not only being accused, but have been investigated and found guilty by LCC. And LCC was only waiting for the statutory period that the Justice Ministry had to judge these people, failure of which the LCC would take the prosecutorial role to play in line with the act. It's not logical for them to either be fired or be recused so that the deputy that is responsible can act in line with the act. Meaning that if even the deputy himself had been caught in the web, he will also face the same consequence. And luckily for us, he is almost like a whistleblower, right? And it's not befitting. Currently, as we speak, it is one of those deputies accused that is acting. Since the Director General himself is not well, and plans are being worked out for him to be flown out of this country for treatment, and somebody, even a deputy for administration, is not a principal deputy. Deputy for operation or whatever you call it is not a principal deputy. It is the deputy for statistics and data processing. It's like the foreign ministry. Deputy for administration is not the principal deputy. It is the deputy for foreign affairs. So let the law take center stage when we are talking about this census, because it is the need for transparency that is leading for the government calling us from recess to come and do this situation. So basically, that's what I was saying yesterday, and it has not died now. We are meeting in session tomorrow. My communication will be there. I'm downloading the letter that came to that effect, and I will be attaching a memo to it to the plenary to be forwarded to the committee, saying the issue about the census, especially the investigation about the corruption, because a lot of things were done, papers were presented, the statement was made by the gentleman who accused the leadership of this of Legis, and committee is handling this issue. I was told not to handle it because it was like I'm familiar with all the people involved, so they didn't want any situation to come about where I would be caught up in conflict of interest or to take side with anybody. So my co-chair, Honorable from District Monserrato, is representing the governance committee there, along with other people from other committees. So basically, I'm going to write that communication to the plenary, and I think we'll see ways on forwarding it to them so that that could be part of the report. Because anything short of that means that we're going to go back to the same situation. And we don't want to wait for maybe the EU, for example, the Swedish embassy that are giving us over 10 million euro, you know something about, and EU, UNDP, people pumping their money in, American embassy. You say, we don't want them to say, okay, we don't want these people who are corrupt, who have been deemed to be corrupt, who have been seen to be corrupt and things like that to handle the census. Then before we start taking action, I say we don't have heads on our shoulder. So basically, I will be making that case, and then hopefully, and I'm sure my colleagues, I already told them, I already expressed it, but normally these things, if you don't put them on record, I mean, you are normally seen as making noise. So I'm putting it on record as I leave now. I'm putting everything together to make sure that letter is available before session tomorrow, so that it can be sent to the committee room. So as they are coming back with their report, it can be part of it, that the executive be told to either have those people set aside for prosecution or they recuse themselves and send the Deputy Director General. The Director General is not well. The person that is currently acting is the wrong person to act, so that the Deputy for Statistics and Data Processing can take the lead.
So you have a general concern. But my fear here is that I'm not accusing the executive, but when concern comes from the opposition bloc, the executive doesn't, take heed to it. And what do you think will be the next step if the executive doesn't act on your concern?
My brother, I mean, I'm sorry. There is no about. I'm not here as an opposition man. I'm here as a representative of this country. There is nothing that is happening now that we have not said before. There are more than 6 communications with the speaker that I have written with regard to the census. I'm sure if these things are being heeded, the corruption situation that brought us where we are today will have been averted.
But
Many times
sometimes these kind of concern raise up, and the executive doesn't do anything about it. Like in the case of the suspended officials, there have been mounting call ever since for Mr. Magay to be chief from that position or suspended, and now this sanction from the U.S. government, immediately the president suspended Minister Magay. So, do you think they should reach the international body or concern before such?
It's not my business to call on the international community. I feel embarrassed and disgraced that my country that got all the setup to deal with situation by itself cannot act on the international community also act. What did we establish the Liberia Anti-Corruption Agency for? We pumped millions of dollars in a sense. They were created from the Accra Peace Accord, right? And then we used taxpayers' money to have them investigate. My former employer, the Family Planning Association of Liberia, which is now called the Planned Parenthood Association of Liberia, is a legislative created body, but it's being mainly financed by international community, the International Planned Parenthood Federation. But because some of the money they use is also from the budget, it was subjected to be investigated. They were found wanted by the LACC report. Then you have the issue of the Liberia Institute for Statistics and Geoinformation Services, LIGIS, was also found wanting. You understand? And other agencies. Yeah, Agriculture Ministry that does not only operate with government money, because I know we put less than $10 million there. I think we are always between 7 and 10 million as far as funding for agriculture is concerned, because bulk of the money comes from IFA, International Foundation for Agriculture. You understand what I'm talking about? Agricultural development. And FAO and other people who normally help us. Normally the budget is low like that. Somebody think that Liberia agriculture is not being prioritized. They are right also, because even health, with all the international money that comes, health is anywhere between 75 to 90 million, always 80 million. So we've spent so much little on agriculture, the little that comes, but huge amount of money that comes from outside is counterpart funding. All they need is to provide a living environment. We saw that they were caught in corruption where they were all said that these people are culpable. And then we're sitting down for other people to tell us, deal with these people before we do it. So I'm not calling on international community to come. It's now time for the president to see that it's just logical. I'm not even calling on the president to act. It is the chairman of the board, which is Samuel Toet, that's supposed to simply say, look, saying the director general is not well, please let the principal director general of Legis to sit there and conduct the census. The very people who are being accused of playing in the money cannot be the one. So even if they don't want to prosecute them, the issue is that the law should not be seen to be stopped. And I'm speaking as chairman of governance who has oversight over Legis, and I will ensure that that is done. But I just wanted that the plenary to take the decision that the chairman of the board of Legis, which is Honorable Samuel D. Toet, should take the appropriate action to make sure that the census house is without noise. You can't be going through an exercise that is being called by international community and you see illegality, permeating the system that will affect the outcome. And this is what I'm saying. So it's not about the executive doing what it's supposed to do. If they don't do it, they will also go on record for not following the law. Then, of course, when I don't know whether that's receivership we in or trusteeship we in, where we have another government that must talk before we act. It's disgraceful. And I hope we graduate from there.
So it brings me to my next question, and to divert from this whole legis issue. Generally, on the national scene, you've been listening to news about 3 top government officials being sanctioned by the U.S. State Department of Treasury. What's your view on that?
My view is that I think that's a step in the right direction. Very little people in Liberia, very few people in Liberia do know that these people so named have not really been justifying the confidence the country has reposed in them. Uh, and there are many more people that are always beyond the lips of people as for their own action not being in conformity with what this country was founded to be. But yet we are seeing it as an issue of whether or not we should hold them accountable. Again, somebody has to tell us that these people, we have investigated them. People thought it was just an allegation, but look at what has been produced about them: their ages, their passport number, when they were born, where they come from. Yes, it's a detailed investigation. You understand what I'm saying? And so, if anybody wants to doubt what the people say, let them read the report. Let them go to the link and see how exhaustive that investigation is. But whatever the case is, if the president wanted to really show that he's serious, he could have told us who is going to conduct this investigation. Because he said pending investigation. And the report, the document there is saying that anybody who does business with these people will be treated in like manner.
Will be sanctioned.
Will be sanctioned. And so any attempt for us to suspend these people by mob and we allow them to be working behind the scene, it will be a sin. It will be known. And when it is known, we should not be held responsible for us being held responsible. Even I'm thinking whether the same people, I don't know what role being an elected official has to do with that, because if the guy is unsanctioned and he is elected, I don't know whether it's not enough to move them from their committees, but I have to think that something should be done about those that are being accused by the very American government that are already elected positions, whether they can be allowed to run again. Because if we allow them to run, are we not doing business with them? For currently, their tenure is protected, but if their tenure is finished, if they are bringing document to apply to be accepted to run, are we not doing business with them? So I'm telling the American government to go another step. Yes, those that are in tenure position, they were elected, and the power of their people should be respected. But at the end of that tenure, if the election commission start receiving documents from them for application to run, to me, it's doing business with them.
Right.
So they should be considered as not qualified to run. So this is my position. Those that are not sanctioned, that are in leadership position, that are currently elected, should not be allowed to run, because any attempt to receive application document from them, to receive money from them, to receive anything affidavit, or you do business with them, official business with them, and that will go against the law or the rule that sanction these people. But currently they can enjoy their stuff as it is. But those that are in appointed position, America is the heavyweight of this country. They will never come out to say anything unjustifiable. Once, if you want to challenge it, the president, if he doesn't want to appear like he is making Liberia to be a smaller country and whereby all countries are equal or all presidents are equal, let him conduct an own investigation. And the way to do it is to just ask through the diplomatic process for the document that the people are relying on to be used here, so we can domesticate the process. If the process is not, if it's not justifiable and we think we've sent a wave, we say, look, we cannot suspend the people, we cannot dismiss the people because the issue you are raising are trivial. But in the absence of it, we just have to accept it, because when America sneezes, we catch cold. When they catch cold, we become sick. So we don't need to go at loggerhead with them. And anybody feel that you can say, like what we did some time ago when a lady in the president's office was accused of soliciting a bribe from an investor, suspended her for a few months, only to have her back. What guarantee do we have that when she was suspended, she was not even having her pay? She was not even signing paper below. But this is a different scenario. It's a scenario that puts Liberia on a blind list that will make us not to have any international assistance and no protection, not only can. If you read even a book that Sawyer wrote, and the tragedy of anarchy, and the evolution of the Liberian state is a very good piece. What we are saying is that America did not recognize us initially, but she was the one that was coming on the scene when even British people wanted to exploit us, when they were controlling our ports to get our revenue, to pay back the loans, several loans, 1906. And you knew what I'm talking about. It was America that came and said, no, instead of this, what we do, this, what we do, that even made us to have what we call Liberia today. Otherwise, the French and the British were just taking all of what's supposed to be Liberia. So America has been with us for long, and so we cannot afford to show to them that we are not in a position to follow them. I think they want to make our country better. So that's what I'm saying. I'm very happy about what they said, and I hope they can even do more, so that that can serve as a deterrence. When we are in public space, we need to control ourselves accordingly.
So, Honorable Youngquoi, we say thank you so much for granting us this interview. We hope to see you again another time, a veteran lawmaker.
Oh yeah, thank you very much. I'm praying to God that my people will send me back. After 13 months, we'll be back. It was just will help to shape the country the way it was intended.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Right, you're one of those who really enjoy in the chamber providing the requisite knowledge when it comes to legislative matter. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
He's Honorable Youngquoi. He's from District 8, Nimba County. So we say thanks for watching, viewers. My name is Haji Masare. I've been here alongside other media, entity, Hot FM, and TV. Goodbye.